In this video, I'm going to show you how you can annotate images with Napari. So I'm back to the same image, and here I have the different layers, only one here, but I can add other kind of layers. As you can see, you have points layers, shapes layers. So I'm going to go very quickly with this one. So here I added one point layer. So you can add points. So here you have a different option. So this is to move. If I want to add a new point, I can add it in here. I can change the size of the point. And here, it doesn't really matter because what I added is just a point, okay? And these are all different ways to visualize it. The points, and let me show you directly, you can do the same with shapes. So here you can, define different kind of shapes. I'm going to use a shape like a circle shape. And so then now we're going to have more information. It's a circle, it's just not the dot. So this kind of annotation are generally useful when you want to build a tool like a plugin and you want to interact with the user. And so then you can enter some information you can get back. Most of the time, these layers won't be very useful because you're going to be more interested in the label layer that you can use for segmentation. So I'm not going to go, so you can save these layers. It's going to be text files, like tables, like Excel files, that you can then extract all the shapes. Here I'm just, so when you have layers like this, you can remove them by hitting the bin here. So I'm going to remove the shapes and the points. And now I'm going to add a label layer. And this, if you want to do some annotation for segmentation, for example, if you want even to train a model, things like this, it's going to be much more interesting. Okay, so here I have a label layer. You have different options. So this is to change the colors. We'll see that later on. This is to erase. This is to add with a paintbrush. You can also activate the bucket, so you can fill a shape. You can pick the label, or you can move. So let's say I'm going to go at the end of this, and let's say I want to actually try to annotate this cell. So let's say this is the tip of the cell. So what you can do is that you can use the paintbrush, and for example, I'm going to go doing the outline of it, okay? And so then I can then use this to go inside as well. I want to do it in 3D, so I'm going to go to the next frame, and you can use your arrows, okay? So left. And so I can, again, do something like this. If I don't want to fill in, so I could change the size of the brush, but I can also use the fill the bucket. As I'm in 2D and this is well defined, if I do this, now it's going to fill the interior, and I can go to the next. Now be careful, if I use directly the bucket, here I'm filling the entire image, so you can do Ctrl Z to undo it, and you can use the numbers. So if I do 1, it's eraser, 2, it's the brush, 3, it's this. So this, I'm going to do it because it's I guess fairly new, didn't exist before. Yes, so that looks like what you have in QPath, and except I double click unexpectedly. So that might be better than the brush. And if you want, you can erase, of course. So I'm gonna type 2. I'm gonna use the brush here, and then if you want to go a bit faster, boom, 4, and I'm filling it, okay? And next, So as you can see, the problem with 3D data is that quickly it becomes quite cumbersome to do. But we'll see that we can use other tools to try to increase a little bit time required, so to decrease the time to go a little bit faster. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Not super precise as you can see, but it's really to show you how it works. And let's say now, it's over, okay? So if I go back, I can see the image. I can look at it with a 3D rendering, okay? And so as you can see here, so I need to, if I use this layer, it's going to be easier to navigate actually. And so then you can look at it. That way I can remove the image and just look at the annotation. And so, all right, let me go back this way. As you can see, as I annotated plane per plane, it looks like you have this step effect, which is probably not ideal, but I have this image. You can go back to the label, so with the image to see what it is. And so if I click on labels, I can change the colors, because here, so your objects are going to be defined by their ID. So I have first object, it is 1, and if I don't like this, I can randomly change the colors. If I want to add a new object, I'm gonna use a different ID, like 2, and then I can go back to the brush, like this, and fill the inside, okay? So here's something that might be useful for visualization. You can, if you have this contour parameter, if it's 0, it shows you all the pixels, but then you can have just the contour. So here, a 1 pixel width, 2 pixel width, etc. So that might be, easier, because when you have the entire area, you are masking the image here. You just look at the contour, okay? So here I can go back to this. Something that might be useful is this. So for example, I don't remember which ID is this. If I pick this, it tells me it's 1. So it might be useful. Let me go back to where I have several of them. So let me define a new one. Like this. If I realize, so here it's not the case, but I realize that those two objects are the same. Now, if I use the bucket to fill this guy, I'm going to change this to ID3, and I only have one object here now. If I look at the contour, you see, just have one object. If I want to remove this, I can use the eraser, or I can use the 0, because the 0 label doesn't correspond to anything. If I use the 0, the bucket, boom, everything is down, okay? What I can do also, so let me show you something that might be useful. So let's go back to 2. I'm gonna do simple things just to show you can do it in 3D as well. So here it's completely filled. Okay, then I'm gonna have contour, and let's completely fill this one as well. So now I have one plane here. It's empty inside, but the contour, and one plane here. if I use the bucket here, I'm gonna fill inside in here, but not, sorry, I guess I'm not, so if I use this and, okay, so let's just look at this. If I fill in this plane, then this one won't be filled. However, I can fill both if I move to 3D edit. Here I'm in 2D, I can go to 3D. You have to be careful because then in 3D, here if I fill it, it's gonna work because next it's completely closed and before it's completely closed. But if not, it would put a label everywhere. So let's just see if this works. It did. You see, I clicked once and it filled everything that was inside of it. It's also useful if I want to remove, because if you remember, so I'm going to show you here. For example, I'm going to go right in the middle, like in here. If I choose the 0 intensity and I fill this one in 2D edition, it's gonna, so here, if I click on it, I removed it, but before and after it was not removed. Now, if I go to 3D, so here I have several of them, you see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I remove this one, it's all gone, except, you know, the last part that wasn't gone. But if I click on it now, everything is gone.